1 minute. The Editor-in-Chief is live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, good morning, August the 16th. Welcome to the program. You're with the Editor-in-Chief live with Esters Oil, your multi-ingredient omega-3 healthy aging supplement, brought to you by thousands of satisfied customers. Get the benefits of 6 supplements in 1 capsule to support joint, heart and brain health. Take as directed, read the label. About health, Auckland. Hi, folks. I'm Duncan, Garner. Welcome to the program. Today, the All Blacks, their 30-year unbeaten record at Eden Park. It faces perhaps its soonest test yet. 1 down against Argentina. So can the Argies make it 2 and beat this incredible, almost insane record that the ABs have at Eden Park? Since 1994, they've been unbeaten. 47 wins, 2 draws. 12 nations have tried to get past them. No one could. Australia's lost 20 times at Eden Park since 94. Can we do it? Will we bounce back? We'll look at this with Gary Denvir. And from Centrepoint to Gloriavale and the cults that we have no idea about. The world will descend on Christchurch later this year for a conference called Decult, Australasia's first cult awareness conference. So we'll look at that. Let's have a chat to the organiser and we'll talk about the people that will turn up to there. Have you ever been in a cult? Let me know. Tell me. All the details are there on the screen. Jump on the YouTube or TikTok. Leave a comment. It is news time. Here's Mediaworks Deputy News Editor. It is Grace Cocker and a very good morning.
The Grocery Commissioner is putting supermarkets on notice over incorrect pricing. Findings show customers are losing tens of millions of dollars a year due to errors. Pierre Van Heerden wants to see a generous refund policy.
That there's a sting in the tail for the supermarkets. They should be providing those products to the consumer for free of charge if they've made an error.
The Taupo SPCA hopes to reopen today after being forced to close its doors when a man threatened to burn the building down. He was angry at the uplift of his dog. Spokesperson Dr. Corey Regnoris-Cal says staff were offered counselling.
This shakes anybody, any threats like this. So we do take it really seriously, and protecting our staff as well as the animals that are in our care is really essential.
The death toll from the Israel-Hamas war has now surpassed 40,000. The UN's Human Rights Chief Volker Turk says it's a grim milestone.
Most of the dead are women and children. On average, about 130 people have been killed every day in Gaza over the past 10 months.
5 people have now been arrested over the death of Friends actor Matthew Perry. They include a live-in assistant and 2 medical doctors. US Attorney Martin Estrada says they used him as a cash cow and took advantage of his struggles. Australian breakdancer Reagan has addressed the backlash of her Olympic performance. The 36-year-old's been the subject of global criticism and ridicule over her routine, including the infamous kangaroo hop.
I did take it very seriously. I worked my butt off.
To sport, Sam Cane is ecstatic to be back in the All Blacks for tomorrow's Rugby Championship rematch with Argentina in Auckland. It's his first test since last year's World Cup final. Coming off the back of another back injury makes selection even more special for the 32-year-old.
A lot of hard work's gone in to get back to this stage. Was pretty nervous for the team naming and really stoked to be able to jag a spot on the bench.
And in football news with FIFA Plus, Manchester City midfielder Calvin Phillips is joining Ipswich Town on loan for the upcoming Premier League season. That's news and sport.
Thanks, Grace. Have you seen the illness and sickness going around the office?
I have, touch wood, have not got sick this year. Last time I got sick, I got laryngitis, missed COVID, have never had COVID.
Have you not?
I am patient 0. I need to be studied. No, I've never had it. My husband got it and we lived in a 1-bedroom unit and I still dodged it.
Well, Gary's coming up next. Have you had it?
Yeah, I've had it a couple of times.
Yeah. Well, so yesterday, there's a couple of... Miranda's not here. She's out with COVID.
Yeah, I wondered where she was.
Yeah, COVID. Oof. Last night tested positive. So, and late yesterday, I felt paralysed and I was shivering cold and blurred vision. I got stuck in my car for an hour. I couldn't move.
Oh, dear.
About 6 o'clock at night. I didn't know what it was. So I thought, this is COVID. So I did the test. And to prove to you, I brought it in here just in case. Somewhere in
just in case we were all standing here oh, cool, thanks, Duncan.
I thought it would be, say, yes, positive, absolutely. But no, straight away. No, just one line. One line's negative, right? Yeah. So, it is. Don't worry.
Yeah. I had to think about it.
But we had 30 boys off at our school just in year 9. 30 boys last Friday.
It's doing the rounds. Like, a lot of people are warning, and all the experts are saying, guys, it's still out there and it's pretty hefty. Like, long COVID's a big game at the moment as well. There's a lot of people complaining of that.
Well, how did we miss it then? Because they've got 2 bosses of Rover, they're gone, and Miranda's gone.
I mean, I wouldn't know.
Where next?
I wouldn't even know what the symptoms are. Just assume it's a cold.
I can't believe it. Do you actually hug your husband?
Yeah.
Hey?
And poor guy, he just had shoulder surgery when he got it. It was like a double whammy. But no, patient 0.
Okay.
Duncan Garner, live.
God, if that's death, then that was death warmed up. Right, it's Friday, which means it's time to talk sport with Mediaworks news boss, Gary Denvir. And the 30-year insane record at Eden Park just comes into sharp focus, doesn't it, this weekend, tomorrow. Of course, 1994 was the last time that they lost, Gary. And Argentina now face a stern challenge, don't they? After dismantling the ABs last weekend in Wellington, history tells us the ABs bounced back in the most ferocious of ways, but history is yet to be made and broken. Of course, isn't it, Gary? Their Hawke's Bay line, Gary Denvir, joins us now.
Yes, absolutely.
There must be a shield challenge or something on it.
There is a shield challenge.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, absolutely. I threw on the old shirt.
Is that the most important thing to talk about off the top, or is it the All Blacks?
Far more important than anything else.
Yeah, so the All Blacks, 30 years.
30 years and
49 games.
Go out on a limb and say it's going to remain the record after this weekend. Argentina, last week I said, they were better than a $7 shot.
Yeah, you
and
did too.
They proved it. But the All Blacks weren't that far off. They made some silly mistakes. And it was a pretty close game. So they'll have tidied that up during the week. They'll be better. As you said, they come out more ferocious after a loss. I can't see it being anything other than an All Blacks win.
The All Blacks find ways to win, right? But they didn't last week. This is really worrying. They found themselves lost at sea. The double passing over the top. Sarvin needs to step up. The forwards need to step up and get more ferocious, and I think they will. They will be. They're fighting for this record. There's something about that Eden Park, isn't there?
Oh, there is, and they've made a couple of changes to sort of tidy things up. Jordan coming into the starting 15, which I like. I was quite
He's
pleased
a fullback
with that.
though, isn't he?
Well, yeah, but he still looks great on the wing. Bowden at fullback, I don't have an issue with that. I think that's his best position.
Yes.
Will Jordan coming in on one wing, Caleb Clark on the other one.
He had a bit
Caleb
more.
Ralph for a second. Caleb Clark.
well, it is a Crusaders coach, so you never know. Caleb Ralph might be back.
Absolutely. So those two coming on the wings will be interesting, bit of impact.
You've got to get the ball there first.
And Rico Ioane coming in, it's in the midfield. I think Anton Leonard-Brown might have been a little bit unlucky there. But,
his defence may have been a bit questionable when he came up.
But
it's
problem.
So to me, it looks like it's chopping and changing, trying to find the solution. Sam Cane on the bench. So a departing All Black captain, 95 tests, red carded at the final, gets some redemption. And good on him. I mean, Sam Cane, if you know your rugby, he's a great player.
Oh, he's a great player.
He knows his stuff.
Genuinely patriotic. He just loves putting on the black jumper. So it's nice that he gets another shot, and that red card's not going to be the last memory he has of playing for the All Blacks.
But what's Razor's stamp on the team?
We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
At the moment, he's just the status quo with what Foster left. So
potentially worse.
Well, yeah,
it's
absolutely.
He's had 5 months.
That result last week was definitely worse.
Yeah, he's had 5 months with them, so that's like 5 months of a pre-season with the Crusaders. He had 9 years with them, so you need his time with them, I suppose. But it's a different setup, international rugby.
Yeah, it is, and he's learning. Last week I think was a real eye opener, and you saw the look on his face when they lost. It was almost. He just didn't understand almost the look on his face. Yeah. How does this happen? We're not supposed to lose.
I'll ask you on YouTube.
Reality check.
Yeah.
And honestly, so far as I'm concerned, we're very proud of the All Blacks' history, and we hate it when they lose. Yes. But I'd rather lose now than at a World Cup.
Gary, leave the office. You'd rather, we don't want to lose at all, because 49. So let's look at this record: 49 undefeated appearances, 47 of those victories, 2 of them are draws. The Australians have turned up 20 times since 1994 and lost. And I looked at this morning: 20 L's in the column, losses. It's just quite remarkable, and there's been plenty of good Australian sides in that time.
Oh, there has. And just remember, it wasn't that long ago that they owned the Bledisloe Cup. We couldn't get it off them.
Yeah, they can't get it off us now.
No, they can't get
it off us. But 20 times, Gary, if you turn up 20 times to something, you're going to get something as a result. 20 times.
Yeah,
you mean,
you would have thought
the numbers will just tell you that. So there's 2 draws in there, the South Africa and the British Lions. That's it. Everything else has been a win.
Yeah.
It is an insane record, isn't it?
The British Lions one was a bit dicey. Come on. Anyway.
If you're on YouTube and TikTok, let me know if you think the All Blacks will win this weekend. What do they need to do? But the reputation of Eden Park is such that they'll come home, I reckon. The Argentinians have dropped Creevy, the guy that scored the try, the 39-year-old.
It was nice to see him get a try, though.
I like that guy.
Last week. Absolutely. If you talk about hard on your sleeve people, he's the ultimate.
If I was going to be an international rugby player, which time has passed, Gary, but I'd want to be Creevy, I reckon. He's just a tough bastard,
Absolutely. And
looks the part.
But we love to hate players from other nations, but nobody hates Creevy. He's just seems like a genuinely good bloke.
He does. Yeah, I reckon he moonlights as a security guard at Pack and Save in Mount Albert. He looks exactly like the same guy there. Anyway, Ranfurly Shield.
Ranfurly Shield.
We better quickly touch on it.
Against the old foe of Southland.
Yeah.
We've had a bit of a beef with them since
battle
1994.
Yeah.
Look, we're going into this red hot favourites.
What's Southland rugby like?
It's, again, dare I say it, much like Argentina, I think the odds might be a little bit inflated.
Right.
Hawke's Bay going into this, I think, $1.10 favourites.
It's at home, isn't it?
Yeah, it is at home.
Yep.
And the Ranfurly Shield, Hawke's Bay does tend to lift themselves, but I'm a pessimist.
Yeah. You think we'll win? You think Hawke's Bay will win?
I certainly hope so.
Yeah,
but I don't see them as a $1.10 favourite.
$1.10's a bit. Well, it's home ground. I mean, it's home ground. There's some things in life that are good because they've been around for a long time. And there's nothing like sort of legacy things. And the Ranfurly Shield, to me, a bit like the Mawasca Cup of schoolboy rugby, do not get rid of it. And do not belittle it, and do not reduce it as a priority. It's so important, I reckon.
For me, I love the fact that Hawke's Bay's got it at the moment. I love it when it's in the smaller provinces.
Yeah.
Because you just see how much they embrace it. When it's at Auckland or Canterbury, that's nice.
Yeah.
The provinces really, really go wild with it.
They do.
And if anything, if we have to lose the Ranfurly Shield to anybody, rather than lose it to a Canterbury or an Auckland, I would rather lost it to Wairarapa Bush in the pre-season games.
Well, that won't happen though, will it?
No, it won't. But the Heartland, could you imagine if there was a massive upset and one of the Heartland teams won it? That would go off.
Well, it wouldn't leave the Heartland. You see,
not until they took a challenge the next year.
Yeah, but they wouldn't. But would Auckland go down there and play them? Would they take that challenge? No. Why would you?
No, but
it would languish in that division.
I think they would be forced to take a challenge from at least one of the top sides, and it wouldn't matter if
North
it was
Harbour,
a Taranaki or a North Harbour or
What's wrong with North Harbour?
What's wrong with North Harbour? Where do I start?
Okay. What other sport we got going on?
Well, over the weekend, the Premier League's kicking off, so all the football fans can start losing some sleep again.
Yep.
And I'm amongst those, so I'm looking forward to that.
What's your team? Who's your team?
Manchester United.
Oh, yeah. I think
since I was about 5 years old.
Oh, really? So you're a nutter?
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually beaten into it by my older brother. They were losing at the time, and he said I had to have the losing side. In one particular game we were watching.
And you said yes, sir?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you have to.
This that survival instinct.
Yeah, that NPC we just talked about before, which is on, obviously now, kicked off last weekend. You seen the crowds? This used to be the jewel in the crowd of New Zealand rugby.
Yeah.
And now you'd be lucky to get 500,000 people there.
Oh, yeah. Yep, absolutely. Look,
what have we done it to ourselves for?
The Ranfurly Shield will have a decent crowd.
Yeah, that will. The provinces, that's where rugby's alive and well, it's provinces.
It is, absolutely. That's why the Ranfurly Shield needs to stay in those provinces as much as possible. It goes back to one of the big boys. It's look, the exception to that may be Waikato. They seem to embrace it.
Yeah, but remember the early 90s when Waikato came up to Eden Park and beat Auckland, and Taranaki came up and beat Auckland mid-90s. Remember that?
Yeah.
They were great days. All right, Gary, anything else to say for yourself?
That's it.
Okay, mate.
Enjoy your weekend.
Appreciate you too.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, a lot of feedback coming here too. Duncan, I reckon, Moana says, I reckon the ABs will come through. They have every reason to. Mana on the line at Eden Park. Tux has said, I'm going to do the worst thing ever and bet against the All Blacks because the TAB returns will be awesome if they win. They won't be that awesome. The All Blacks, I reckon, almost go in as underdogs, but the odds won't be that good. I reckon the reputation that hangs around Eden Park is at risk, says James. Yeah. Oh.
3 questions from the Editor-in-Chief.
So, at number 1 today,
1.
Is the government now slashing and burning the public sector? And how can you say the front line is no longer affected? Just look at Health New Zealand yesterday. They have already had 244 job cuts earlier in the year, and yesterday the job cuts kept coming with a further 268 jobs set to go. A source within Health New Zealand said the government will tell you it's not affecting the front line, but come on, the line's blurred, and all jobs feed the front line. How many jobs does the government want to cut? When is enough? Mr. Luxon.
2.
At number 2 today, and it continues. The Ministry for Disabled People has been hit as well. How have they been hit? They were responsible for delivering services for the government to disabled people, but the government says, nah, you're not up to it, and have taken all the powers off them and the budget and taken off them and handed it to the Ministry of Social Development. What's worse is they've frozen all funding at current levels, so there'll be no uplift for inflation and the rise in the cost of living. That's effectively a cut or a message from the government to find your own savings to make ends meet. So go to hell, basically, is what they're saying.
3.
And number 3, when do you start to feel old? When do you start to notice that you're ageing? This is fascinating, but scientists worldwide say that after years and years of research, they've settled on 2 particular ages of our time when it starts to be really noticeable. So the first age is 44, and the second one is 60. Things start to noticeably happen, like joint pain and heart disease. Their advice is to keep exercising through these times, as it could make a real difference.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, 44 definitely. Things stayed up at 44. I haven't got to 60 yet, so thank goodness. Isaac, do you feel... How old are you, mate?
I am 20.
You're 20? Okay, so
20.
You are 24 years off any noticeable changes.
That's good.
Okay.
That's a wee while. How about you? How far off are you from 44?
Well, I'm 6 years past it, mate.
Oh,
did you not think I was 50?
Oh, no,
You
man.
didn't think I look a day over 44?
Oh, the way you sprightly walk around the office and the way you glow on camera, I wouldn't have guessed.
Oh, we'll keep you. Yeah, you're a keeper. Right, so from Centrepoint to Gloriavale, some of our most notorious cults will be in the spotlight at Decult. I love this. Australasia's first cult awareness conference. It is taking place in Christchurch later this year, the brainchild of investigative journalist and author, Anke Richter. And I reckon this is fascinating work, and well done to her. Experts and survivors will share their stories of life inside these cults and their journey after leaving them. The aim is to raise awareness. I think also to raise some money too, so they get some backing. Anke joins us now. G'day, nice to have you on the program.
Morena, Duncan, great to be here.
You know, I'm fascinated by cults, always have been. You know, as a young kid, I lived on the North Shore of Auckland, so we'd often drive around, go up to the Centrepoint open days. Centrepoint had an open day every year. We'd go in there and the toilets were all open. I found it strange and freaky, but I was fascinated by it. Who's going to turn up at your conference?
Look, it's quite a mixed audience. There will be some former children and survivors, leavers from cults here in New Zealand. There'll be lots of international people, experts that we're flying over from Europe, from the US. There will be therapists, doctors. It's quite interesting. We're trying to get all these different people in a room together so they can learn from each other and basically give them some cult education. So we're responding to a situation that we have here in New Zealand that needs to change.
How many cults are there worldwide? How many do you estimate? What about in New Zealand? What's the answer?
Well, you know, no one's really studied this in New Zealand. There's no data because we don't actually have these researchers here. This is another thing that needs to change. But estimates are that there are dozens and dozens of, definitely a few dozens of cults in New Zealand here, but that there are tens of thousands of people who are actually affected by them. And not just the ones who are in them or who've come out, but the ripple effect of especially kids who've grown up in these groups. You know, they come out, they often don't have an education. They've been shunned by their family. They can fall into suicide, addiction, unemployment. They have to find their feet in the world. And that has a ripple effect on their life and then maybe their offspring and their family and so on. So it is a massive public health issue, actually, that's totally unrecognized and that we don't have the right answer for yet.
I agree with you. This is because this is basically law breaking. This is against, what they're doing is against, well, it's morally weird, but it's against the law, you know?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, actually, to run a cult is not illegal. It's not illegal to be a cult leader, right? It's not even a clearly defined legal term what a cult is, but there are often criminal activities like coercive control. Even that's still legally hard to grasp here with the laws that we have current. There's often some kind of financial shadiness, sexual abuse. At least that's something you can report to the police, but it's really difficult if you're already in an environment where you don't speak out against your group, where you can't just leave and go to the police station, where you've been indoctrinated against the authorities, you don't have a school teacher or a doctor, or you've never seen a counselor in your life. Where do you even start to report any abuse?
Yeah.
And especially if it's been drummed into you, that's probably your fault that this happened to you because maybe your faith isn't strong enough. I mean, the victim blaming and everything that goes in groups like Gloriavale, but not just there, makes it so much harder to even bring any of these allegations to the police.
It's about control, isn't it? I mean, it's a coercive, it's control. In many ways, it's slavery too. You look at Gloriavale, for instance. That's probably our biggest cult in New Zealand, isn't it? Was Gloriavale our biggest?
No, actually, it's not, right? Because we have 500-600 people living in Gloriavale. Most of them were born into it. It's probably our most... it's just on the radar at the moment, and it's such a textbook cult, which ticks so many boxes, even from the look to the compound and all of that. And thank God they're in the courts now, and this is being addressed. But look, there are thousands of people here in New Zealand who are part of a group that I'd only heard about for the first time last year, the Truth, or the 2x2s, or the Cult Without a Name. There are so many people who've come out of the Jehovah's Witnesses or are still in them, or the Exclusive Brethren. They go through a lot of the same things that the Gloriavale people go through, but it's not as visible. Maybe it's not on the radar so much. So I think Gloriavale is a textbook example for what can go wrong and what needs to change. And we have to ask ourselves, 20 years after Centrepoint, why has this still be happening? Have we learned nothing? Why does it need more court cases to actually shut something like this down?
It's interesting you mentioned the Exclusive Brethren too, because I think one of your guest speakers at the conference will be Craig Hoyle, who we've worked with before, a really brave man who I've got a lot of respect for, who left his family, who walked down his family because he said that he announced, well, I'm gay, and so that went down like a cup of cold cider within the Exclusive Brethren. They tried to change him and give him all sorts of change behaviours, and this wasn't going to work. This guy's gay. His story is bloody incredible, isn't it?
And he will be on a panel that we have at Decult, which is one about homophobia and rainbow rights, because that is an issue in a lot of culture groups. Craig will also do a session about his book and his own experiences. And shunning or being excommunicated, what he's went through is true for so many cult leavers from other evangelical groups too. And, it's in my books and many other people's books, that's a human rights issue. That's a crime. Mandated shunning is a crime. And the damage it does to people, and it's like group bullying and actually declaring someone a not just a persona non grata, basically like you're dead. I mean, there's so many people walking amongst us here in Aotearoa who've gone through this, who are afraid of this might happen, who live a double life. There's this term called PIMO, which means physically in, mentally out, which you often find also with Jehovah's Witnesses, where they just can't they just can't leave the fold because everything's at stake for them. Generations of their family in there. They just don't have a home, spiritually, physically anymore if they leave. But at the same time, they've checked out mentally. They know this is wrong. Yes. They woke up to what's really going on. Can you imagine the stuff that people carry, and they would not go and reveal that and talk about it. So we really hope that at the Decult conference, there's a space to reveal these things, to open people's eyes, to educate stakeholders in government, in social services. We have a special session just for healthcare workers so that they understand what people in cults need. Yeah. Have
you got the government coming? You need ministers, you need the government agencies, because this is very much in its infancy in terms of opening itself up to the world. So if you can only really get some action if you get the people with the influence at the table. You can tell your stories, but you need some of the influencers there as well, some people that can actually take action or make a change or help fund the conference and get it onto a level where it's actually got some grunt, you know what I mean?
I absolutely agree. And we're currently knocking at the government's door and inviting the Minister of Mental Health and the Minister of Health. Labour MP Duncan Webb will actually open the conference. Hey, here's to all the Duncans, right?
Hooray!
Big shout out to the Duncans.
Yeah, they're good guys. They run cults, but anyway.
The card of Duncan, yeah, bring it on. So we're really stoked that we're getting that response. And after the Decult conference, our keynote speaker Janja Lalic, a US expert, we're taking her to Parliament. There's going to be a dinner with her in her honor, where we're also inviting people. Actually, it's the Gloriavale Leaver Support Trust putting that on, but I'll be there, and we just really want to bring people from the government, from the police, from law enforcement, social services into one room and actually understand that there's a problem which they need to know and understand more about. Yeah. Look, we don't even have a government-funded or centrally run anti-cult agency here in New Zealand like other Western countries have them. And I think it's about time. And so we're bringing a person over from Austria who actually runs that agency there as a psychologist, and she can maybe show us the ropes and say, look, this is a blueprint, get this going here in Aotearoa.
Cults. is I'm just getting a lot of feedback in here as you're speaking. The feedback's coming through. Destiny is a cult. No ifs and no buts, says Dave. I think Destiny is a cult. It's a religious cult. Yeah. Because if you don't sign up, you're out. You know.
I mean, they're also very litigious. So let's just. I'm always careful how I use the C word.
Yeah, bring it.
I think it's fair to say it's a problematic group. I think they've proven it in so many ways. I hope that we will be talking about them at Decult. We will see. We're still looking for the right person to do that, but I'm sure that person will show up. And but there are lots of other groups too, and it's not just so much about putting them in the cult box, but actually highlighting how a group that's maybe started off with really good intentions or is doing some good things for some people, because actually most cults do. There's always some good element. Even Gloriavale has some things that are probably good for some people, right? Or they live together, they farm together, or their honey is great, or whatever it would be. But that does not excuse or in any way justify the curse of control. And so it's going to be interesting, to actually listen to hopefully an expert who can explain to us, is that happening within Destiny Church or not? Or it's just, let's put it to the test.
I wonder, so things that are seen as much more acceptable, like the royal family, for instance. I mean, I'm not saying the royal family's a cult, but they have their own behaviours and their own rules, and they all live within those compounds and things. You could if you're a fancy lawyer, you could argue that potentially they have similar behaviours.
It's an interesting one, because you could definitely argue how hard is it to leave there, and how much do you have to conform, and how much pressure is there on you, and what are the consequences if you pull out. Well, I mean, maybe the consequences in Harry's case is that you get a multi-million-dollar book deal, and I mean, it's maybe not the same as Craig Hoyle leaving the fold of the brethren, right, and being pushed through conversion therapy and so on. So I wouldn't put it on the same par, but cults come in, or cultic groups come in so many shapes and forms. I would say the Playboy Mansion was run like a cult, for instance. Good point. They're life coaching cults. They're even therapists who've created their little culty groups. So it's not always people in orange garb or blue garb living together in a compound. There is usually a charismatic leader of sorts, but even that person doesn't look like your typical guru. Yeah? I mean, look at Brett Potter when he started. He looked like a potato farmer, sorry, right? But he was not your sex guru type, and yet he managed to pull this thing off and bring so many people in who are middle class, educated. Yeah. So everyone's susceptible. It's not like we can just spot these things right away. This is why I think cult education is so important, that people actually understand everyone's susceptible. These things actually are everywhere, especially in the new age wellness scene, which is a huge unregulated market. And I mean, there's so many groups, Luke, and we can't even address them all at Decult, but we're starting somewhere.
Yeah, good
and then
on
we're
you.
going to carry on. Yeah.
Good on you. How can people get in touch with you? Do you have an email? Do you have a sort of a website somewhere where people can sort of touch base, because if they're interested in this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go on decult.net. And you find all the info there. There's an email address, info@decult.net. If you want to email us, you can get tickets there. We still have some tickets left. We will sell out, but we'll also have online tickets. It's super exciting. It's happening at Turanga Library, beautiful venue, very symbolic, because
exactly. Open information.
Are kept away. Cult leavers are kept away from books normally. Cults don't want you to get all the information. So I think it's very symbolic that we're doing it in a public library.
Great chat. Hey, thank you so much for your time today, Anke, and all the very best. Love what you're doing.
Oh, thank you, Duncan. Thanks for the support.
Take care. The cult of Duncan loves it. Yo.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, a bit of feedback coming in. Destiny is a cult. Yeah, I agree. Is it?
I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, I was heavily a Christian in my childhood, and
were you?
Yeah, but also,
what's wrong with you?
Well, yeah. No, but I totally disagree with what they do. I mean, there's been so many reports from inside the church about 10% tithings or more.
Yeah, more.
Which is, I think, pretty scummy overall, and it doesn't necessarily make you a cult, but I really hate that.
Yeah, all the sort of Pacific Island churches. Now, there's huge pressure on low-income families to put in money every week. Is that a cult?
I just think it should. There's a better way to go about it than the way that Destiny does, and I think it's pretty harmful to a lot of the people in there.
Did you grow up, when you were heavily Christian, did you grow up thinking this is not right?
Oh, no, I wasn't part of churches like that.
Right.
My churches were very, very much different.
More liberal.
Yeah, more liberal.
Open. Yeah,
certainly. Yeah.
Is Trump a cult?
Oh, definitely.
Is Mr. Peters a cult?
I saw images of Trump supporters worshipping statues of Trump.
Oh, my God. He's a cult.
I know. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, no, that's... Yeah. What's Mr. Peters? I don't know. You'll have your own view on that. You tell me.
It's the Slam Dunk.
Okay, so if you head to Wellington any time these days and you wonder, what's happened here? This has turned into a zombie town. Today I'm asking the question, has the government, through its cuts to the public service, beaten the absolute stuffing out of this great city? And from someone who lived there for 20 years and now returns every now and then, I think zombie town might be close to being correct. I was there recently and noticed something missing, the vibe, the confidence, the people, the main streets. It wasn't the same. It just wasn't there. Now, we know thousands of roles have been cut within the public service as part of the government-mandated downsize, which I think has gone on to become a slash-and-burn exercise. This is a one-trick pony. All up, more than 6,500 jobs have gone. 6,500 jobs gone in Wellington. No wonder the All Blacks couldn't fill the stadium there last week, because people have either left the city or don't have the money. They're not there. They're not economic. They don't have the money. When the ABs can't fill the park, who can? And isn't that just so telling? When I was there last month to see some people in real estate. I spoke to these people in real estate. They said that the place had been screwed. It was no longer the same. They said it's absolutely not the same anymore. And I wonder when the government must halt its program of cuts and say, right, that's enough's enough. Because have you seen the numbers? They're incredible. 6,500 jobs have gone in the last year in the public service. How many people are affected by that? It's not just 6,500 affected. Times that by 4. Under Labor, they'd stacked the public service and they'd gone probably too far. 2,000 jobs in the final 3 months in office was ridiculous. And National had a mandate to change that, but it's got hooked on the slash and burn. They can't stop. They're sort of stuck on it. That's a cult, isn't it? You can't tell me that the front line isn't affected by this. It absolutely is. It's a made-up term anyway, because the front line is, well, that's the public service. Public service is the front line, isn't it? The most jobs have been cut from the Ministry of Education, 724, and then Social Development Ministry, 701. The Public Service Association says it's savage to cut another 268 roles from Health New Zealand yesterday. Another 268 yesterday, on top of the 244 that came earlier in the year. So that's more than 500 at Health New Zealand. It's incredible. The total number of staff that have gone now at Te Whatu Ora or Health New Zealand was about 500. It is incredible, and it's far too much. The PSA National Health Sector lead, Ashok Shankar, said that the team was funded and monitored and commissioned to do the contracts, management of contracts, thousands of contracts, so they're gone. But these people are serving the front line because they're in the back office serving the front line. Health contracts mean they deliver services to you. It's a complete debacle, isn't it? I reckon the government needs to halt this and stop it. They've got 6,500. Have you been affected by job cuts in the public sector? Get hold of me. All the details are there. But I reckon this has gone too far now. 6,500 jobs in 1 year. How many do they want? How much blood do they want on the floor? Because as it is, I reckon that they've stuffed that town. Good morning to you.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, Duncan, totally agree with you on the slam dunk. Totally agree with you. Now, a cult is a group requiring unwavering devotion to a set of beliefs and practices which are considered deviant outside the norms of society, which is typically led by a charismatic and self-appointed. It's Winston. I was going to get my plonker rankings. Don't go away. So, okay. So we need to put. I'm just going to write it today because I'm going to put Adrian Orr.
Yeah, Adrian Orr. Yeah, he went back on his word, right?
I'm going to put Adrian Orr here. Okay, at 3. So he's a big bat flip. He should resign, actually, Adrian Orr. He's on my plonker rankings.
I'm confused. Where's Kiwi Rail?
Kiwi Rail's gone.
Okay.
They were trying to build some ferries and then they got wrong. I'm putting Jacinda at number 2. You know why?
Why's that?
Because the power price in New Zealand is as a direct result of the gas ban. So we've now been delivered the invoice for the nuclear moment that she had the gas ban. I know you guys love her, but Jacinda Ardern has forced gas prices up because she banned it on the spot. It's now 145% higher than last year, and the spot price of power is $700 a kilowatt hour. It was $100 last year. There's a shortage of power in New Zealand, and you shouldn't have a shortage of power, and it goes right back to this government and her decisions. She's at 2.
Someone says ACC on the TikTok comments.
Why though?
The amount of hoops we had to jump through with other agencies. I don't know.
But the thing is, ACC will always be on there. ACC's a dog. If you're having trouble with ACC, then you're gonna have trouble all the time. So we've still got Darlene Tunner at 1. What do you reckon? She can stay there, can't she?
She's still there, right? Didn't you say she was going to stay there until she leaves?
She stays there until she leaves. But Jacinda's now at 2 and Orr at 3.
We have Dave Monster in the YouTube comments saying Nicola Willis needs to be up there for the ferries.
Yeah, well, we had the Kiwi Rail. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Nicola Willis. Speechwriter. Now Finance Minister. She's on the other side of it. Okay, that's us, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your feedback. Oh, will it go back to National's sell-off of power assets? You can take it right that way back. You can take it all that way back to Max Bradford. And I was in the room when they did that press conference. He said there'd be lower power prices as a result. Max Bradford, 1998. I was there. I know, I'm old. That is us. Thanks for tuning in to Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, live with Estes Oil, the premium New Zealand-made fish oil supplement, backed by a study. Support joint, heart and brain health. This stuff works, it really does. Use code Duncan for 10% off. Abouthealth.co.nz. Take as directed. Read the label. About Health Auckland. That is us. This will be available as a podcast on Rover very, very shortly once the brilliant Isaac does his job and whacks it up there. Thanks for your feedback and support. I'm Duncan at rover.nz. Thanks to my team, Isaac, Miranda, get well soon, Forrester and Zarina. Thank you, guys. We'll do this on Monday. Remember, life is no dress rehearsal. There is no curtain raiser. Go the ABs. This is the best place on earth, so let's get out there and enjoy it. Take care, folks. Ta-da.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.